Right guys, been a couple of weeks since I've been on here, apologise for that. As I did say, it's start of festival season, busy with some prep, and next week's even busier, so I'm just trying to get a little update of where we've been and what's going on next week. Get that out of the way, I'll start getting some tips videos and stuff done as well, but I've got so much stuff to get ready for next week. So right, the main thing over the last couple of weeks has just finished. That was the 3-day, the big festival at Rookery. Did have a couple of matches before that as well. I went to Rookery the Saturday before for just another practice, and I went to Decoy the following day again as a practice for next week. So I'll just have a quick run over them, but then we'll talk about the festival. That's the main thing. So. Excuse me. Right, so on the Saturday I went to Rookery on Jay and Raven. I said in the video last time I wouldn't mind another go on Raven. Needed to sort that out a bit more, I felt. And I drew on Raven, but absolutely awful if I'm honest. You remember I was on 27 down near the end last time, and it got much better as you went up the lake. I want to be 22 around that area really. And I drew end peg 29. It looks lovely, but it's really not. So started over. I will just be brief with it. Started over on the mud line. Didn't catch a lot, just a very odd fish. Couldn't get bites there. I fished meat short. I've caught one F1 on it. So I've started fishing casters. You've got some reeds come out, and there were F1s to be caught on it, little F1s, but they were big bull rushes that come out about 3 or 4 meters, and every one you hooked. For every one I hooked, I'd lose 4 or 5 hook lengths for other ones. Gear wasn't quite right, so that was something I learned. And the last couple of hours I've just pratted around. I didn't want to waste any more hook lengths, just pratted around doing a few different things. None of them really worked, in all honesty. It was flat calm, boiling hot, wind going up the other end. There's been some massive weights, 200 pound plus. There were fish coming in the edge, so I've just tried to work out how to catch them. They didn't want to know either. We've all had the same problem down my end. So I weighed 38 pound, next door's had 28 pound, and then it's just got better and better. In all fairness, my section was only one with 55 pound. The first peg of the next section had 200 odd pound though. So I could have had 58 pound if I'd have just carried on doing what I was doing, but I thought I'd try and learn something from it. There's some better weights down the other side. Really interesting. There were a lot of fish caught in sort of 3 foot, not 2.5, 3 foot, not in on the mud line, like down the edge because it slopes away. So we're just throwing maggots and fish, or maggots and micros. So that was something I definitely learned. I learned quite a lot from it, even though I've not had a very good day. So it was well worth doing. The Sunday, went to Decoy, it was on Willows. Willows is a funny, anyone that's been to Decoy, it's got an island in the middle and it sort of goes round. Peg 1 is narrow and a good peg, you can fish across to the island, and then it widens out and it's all feeder fishing, not very good round there. And then 15 sort of goes out on a point and you can fish across from there. My wife actually drew that because she was fishing, and then it goes back round. 24 is a really good feeder peg. 25 is an out and out flyer. You've got a nice bit to chuck into, some shallow water. You've got a little island next to you you can fish against with the pole, and it goes behind you. There's 2 little islands. 27 is between the 2 little islands, can be alright, a bit cut off though. 29 is like 25, is the other out and out flyer. Chuck the feeder across, you can fish against the island to your left. Then it goes round again into the bowl, not so good. And then end peg 35 is a noted peg again. You can fish along the bank where it goes to the bridge before peg 1 again. And you've got a nice feeder chuck into a mud line. And I've drawn peg 33, wasn't really, well, I wasn't happy with it at all. It's it's not the greatest. Used to be, you could catch on the feeder there, but like everywhere at decoy, it's a bit overgrown this time of year now. And there's big reed bushes and they're falling down in the water. You can't get anywhere near to the island, so didn't even bother setting that up. The edges, again, rubbish. You've got 4 foot either side of you, and they're all falling down massive rushes, so you could only fish sort of the top 4. So wasn't really quite sure what I was going to do with that. I've set up. I didn't want to fish long because it was really hot and still again, and I thought my best chance was going to be dobbing, so I wanted to leave the water. I didn't want to feed. I wanted fish to be cruising through, not getting spooked, and just to be able to dob them. So the only things I've set up is to fish hard pellets on a top 5, and then I've thrown casters on a top 4 down the edge, set up a couple of shallow rigs to try and catch some F1s there in the rushes, and then a deck rig for 4 foot underneath it to try and catch some carp late on. And then I've set up the dobbing rig, and that was going to be my match in all honesty. I did set up a little tiny waggler as well to chuck about, because you can chuck nearer the island. It's, what, 22, 23 metres. It's not a massive chuck. And you've got open water to the left. Thought Andy Leatherswood, a brilliant angler, he'd drawn 29, so it was the next one around for me. 31 was supposed to be in and didn't get drawn, so he could fish down to that 30s platform. Nice shallow water there. Fish against the island, he got it all there. Great angler, thought he'd be the man to beat, does very well at decoy. Ben Bell was next to him on 27, he was awesome at decoy. Thought they'd probably be my main contenders in all honesty, or 24 and 25. Zach Warby was on 24, good angler, very good young angler. So yeah, and I've started short with just throwing hard 6 mils. I was quite aggressive with it because it was going to be my main line for a lot of the match, I thought. I've actually had a good start. I've had the first half hour, I've had 3 carp, a Carasio, a couple of F1s and a barbel, which probably went 20 pound, 22 pound I would think. So that was a good start. And then the sun's come out, it was overcast and the sun's come out and it's just completely killed it. Tried down the edge, had 1 F1 and a little carp there. That's all I've had all day, shallow down there. You could see them, but they didn't want to feed. Sat really, really shallow, just sunbathing, not interested in feeding. You've got to fish a foot deep, so yeah, that was a waste of time. So I've just spent the day dobbing. Again, there were so many fish about, but not interested in feeding. They were paired up, ready for spawning. You've landed more on the waggler. I was chucking a waggler at these fish I could see and landing it lovely. They weren't even spooking off, they were just sitting there, they didn't want to know. I've had 3 or 4 I've dobbed on the pole and 5 on the waggler, I think. I had a bit of a disaster with the waggler in all fairness. For the little dobbing floats you use nice light line, and it's not been on my reels that long, but with all the sun we've had recently it has took its toll, and I've had 2 have snapped my line, bringing them back in. So I've obviously changed my line now. It's just been rushing around. It wasn't something I was planning on doing. I should have checked the line first. So I thought that might cost me. Andy hadn't caught a lot, and then he started catching down the edge the last hour, so I've had to go down. It was too deep. He caught some big fish down the edge. I've caught 4 there the last 25 minutes, but mine were like 2 to 4 pound. His were great big things. It was clear neither of us was going to win, because around the other side there was some wind going into the bank on peg 17 on a hot flat day. He got a ripple going into his bank. He's absolutely annihilated the match. Not normally a great draw, but just shows what a difference a ripple makes on a hot day when everyone else is flat calm. He's had just shy of 200 pound. Andy's had 91 and I've weighed 88, so those 2 last fish cost me big time. Did learn a few little bits though again. If anyone sees me on Facebook, follows me on Facebook, they'll see the biggest thing I learned that day was, even if you're only fishing a top 4 down the edge, when you get snagged up, make sure you wrap it around your keep net or something, because halfway through I've been fishing shallow down the edge, hooked a bit of reed, and because it was only 4 metres away from me, I've just pulled it and it's come flying back, and I've ended up in A&E that night because I actually had a float bristle stuck in my face. So always be careful. That is the biggest thing I learned from that. But yeah, I learned a few different things for the festival. I did try fishing long with 2 hours to go when it's clear. The dobbers didn't want to know. I caught one on hard pellets first chuck, then never another bite. A few things I would have done different, but we'll go into them after the festival next week because yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So now on to the main event of the last couple of weeks. Something I was really looking forward to, the 3-day rookery festival. Great, 54 fishing it. They drew your first peg the night before, and then you sort of, every peg had a different colour on it on the one before they'd drawn your peg, so you knew where you were going the next day. And it wasn't the same rotation. You got split up and went different ways, so you weren't always against the same anglers, which is a brilliant way of doing it. Floatfish did something similar the other week. It's definitely the way to go. You don't want to draw a really tough section, be against those people every day. So they've done the draw the night before, and I've drawn peg 2 on J, which it was the first peg in. Peg 1 wasn't in. J, it's a big snake lake, winding snake lake, and you go over a bridge and fish on the inside of the lake. Peg 1 and 47 are right by the bridge. 47's a really good peg. 1 can be alright, I suppose. So 2 was good. And then my section was 2, 5, 7, 9 and 11. Peg 9 is on the corner. No, peg 8 is sort of the corner. So you've got a big long straight. With me, 2, 5 and 7. There's not a lot of shallow water there, so the mud line isn't very good in all honesty. I am just over 2 foot across, which is far too deep. And then 9 has got some shallow water across, still not. That can be a decent peg. And 11 is on the bend going back down the next straight. Probably the most noted peg on the lake. And our section was classed as the section of doom instantly when we saw it was there. I was on 1. There was one of the locals, very good angler ones, lots of money there. Simon Godfrey on 5. On 7 was Adam Playford. Again, he's been winning more opens there than anyone, and they're 50 peg opens, so that's an achievement in itself. A really good angler. On 9 was Lewis Fenson, again been doing really well there, the Guru lad, very good angler. And then on the boss peg 11 was Tom Edwards, who is probably the best young angler in the country. I say young, 21, he's in Golden Reel final, he's been second in 2 Fishing Mania qualifiers as well the last 3 or 4 weeks, been winning everything, really on fire. And I knew I was really going to struggle to beat him, which isn't the start you want to a festival in all honesty. So I haven't got all my rigs because I've already started doing some prep, but rig wise, set up for the mud line across, just a mojo. Elastic is something I'll go into. After the match on Raven last week, I've actually put 3 or 4 top kits, or 3 top kits I had with, or 4 top kits, sorry, with the 14 to 16 slick, the yellow, in a short kit, and I always thought that was far too heavy in them, but I've changed my mind. It's brilliant, and I shall use it for these sort of waters and decoy a lot more for my shallow fishing for the carp. Wouldn't do it like float fish where they're all 10 pounders, but for this sort of fishing it was brilliant. So I've set up a, the 0.4 mojo, it's 2 foot deep exactly across, 1 little bit, didn't fancy it very much in all honesty. So that was that, just 020 to 016, the mudline rigs I've talked about before. I've set up another rig for the edge, the same, it was 3 foot down to peg 1's platform, right tight in, platforms come right out. But I have caught there before, I've done that peg before and caught, so I've still set it up. I've set up a 414 Rube carbon for fishing, a top short kit and a long 4 throwing meat. as you remember, I have caught on meat on there. I didn't really think it was going to be very good, in all honesty. And then it was going to be cast to shallow, six sections, which I thought would be where I'd catch my weight. There are quite a few fish moving about. I've set up 5 rigs, like 2 dibbers and 3 midgets for 9, 12, 15, 18 and 24 inches. On with 015 or 014 5 bottom, and the 12 to 14 stick in a short kit, and then I've set up one at 12 inches deep with 016 bottom and the yellow stick, the next one up just for bagging, just to if the carp really rocked up, which I hope they would do. And then I've set another one up with another foot deep one, but with 2 foot of line instead of like the 4 inches, so I could just flick it around my casters. And that was it. So the match started, gone across Kinder in, ground bait and some dead maggots, bunch of dead maggots on the hook, and it took me 20 minutes to get a bite, and then it was a tiny little perch, and I looked up the straight, no one was catching anything. I thought, oh no. And then the heavens opened, like a monsoon. I didn't touch on, I've also thrown casters. There's a big bed of reeds, so I've thrown casters down the edge as well. I could see I'd fish there. I went down there, finally caught my first fish, a carp there, about £2. Didn't really want to know. And the heavens have opened, and I thought there were fish on the caster line already. So I've sat there on the deepest rig, and I did catch one on that. I'm an hour in here, and it's absolutely horrendous rain. They just weren't coming up. Tried big potting across, didn't work. I did finally catch 2 over there, but we're now like 2.5, 3 hours into the match. I've got 4 carp, and along the straight they'd all got like 2 or 3 fish as well. It wasn't good at all. The wettest day I've ever fished in, horrible. And then news came round, I was on 4 carp, Tom on 11 had already got 36 carp. He's got a lovely shallow mud line there, and the fish want to be there, and the wind was going up there. I just thought, oh, I've got to make the shallow line work. And thankfully the rain stopped for about half hour, and I really hammered casters in. The problem was, because the rain was going, they didn't hear them going in. They were still there, eating them, but you couldn't get them at once. You need to bring them shallow to catch them properly with these carp. You need to get them gorging and catch like shallow. And I finally got them doing that and started to catch a few. The rain came back after that, and like I say, it was the wettest day I've ever known. The lakes came up a foot during the match. That's how much rain we had. And everywhere around there got flooded. Just horrendous. But yeah, it did start raining again. But once I've got the fish there, I kept heaving in the casters, really fed it aggressively, and they stayed there. The meat only had 1 fish on. Did try down the edge at one stage, caught 3 or 4, but it wasn't quick enough. I knew I needed to be catching really quick to catch Tom up. And the last hour and a half, I fished the heavier rig, like 9 inches deep, short line. They've just been pulling the elastic out, and I couldn't get in quick enough. And I've had 50 carp the last hour and a half. That's how quick I was catching it. And come the way in, I've had 216 pounds. So from catching nothing, I've had an awesome last 3 hours. I spoke to Tom, and he thought he'd got 180. He'd stopped catching the last 3 hours because the Deptford, the lakes had started to come up. His nice shallow mud line was now not as good. Just shows you need the right depth of water, because as the water changed, you stop catching. He said he got 180, but I knew he's a bit of a liar with that. I knew he'd have more than he'd said. So I got round to him. I was winning the section, and then he's weighed 240 pounds. So I needed another 20 minutes. I'd have caught him, because I was absolutely flying, but it wasn't to be. And in this festival, in years gone by, you've always needed the top 3 or 4 have all had a perfect score. So it wasn't the perfect start. I did actually finish second on the lake in the end, and so that's a pickup. They pay the top 2 on the lake every day, so I won some money back. I'd got a big weight, that was something in my favour, but I knew I needed 2 wins for any chance to get in the top 5 now. They did the draw that night again, and they drew me 19 on Raven, which is 18 is the point, so I was up the right end at long last. Now 22 had the big £200 in the Open the week before. He had won the section on the first day, my section on the first day, and Matt Wiles had drawn it, who is another brilliant angler. He won this festival last year, so I knew I was going to be up against it there. I've used exactly the same rigs from the day before, if I'm honest. The only thing I've changed is the 2 foot, the longer rig on the yellow elastic, I have cut down to 6 inches. So I had 2 set up at like 10 and 6 inches for pushing over. There's some reeds in front of you. I didn't feed cast the shallow because it's mudline in there, and you've got 16 inches. I thought it was going to be alright. So I've just fished the same rigs over, and I had it down on top 4 in the edge, 16, 17 inches. So I just had a duplicate because I had the 2 rigs set up from the day before. My meat rig I've cut down to 3 foot. I found that there's a tree here this side of you, and like on top 5, just out from where the tree finished, I've got 3 foot that I was looking for. So I bought a lot of red maggots because I knew I was on that lake, and I was going to throw handfuls of maggots down there aggressively. Micros and pellets over, and then change that to ground bait and live maggots. And that was going to be my match. And the casters, I've got all the caster rigs set up again, but that was just if I was struggling. I wanted to catch on the mudline down the edge. Well, gone over on the mudline. I had Adam Playford between me and Matt Wiles again. Can't get away from him at the moment. Him and Matt, I caught a few over straight away, and it just wasn't right again. I've won so many matches on the mudline on there, and I couldn't catch on it. They were coming in, but they just didn't really want to know. I did catch 2 or 3 carp on it, 3 or 4 F1s as well, but I didn't seem like I was getting enough bites on it. So after half hour, I've dropped down the edge, like in the 3 foot, and it's gone straight away, and I've had 10 carp there in 25 minutes. It was brilliant, and then it sort of teetered off. Caught a couple of F1s, gone back over, caught a couple more. I thought I need to start pinging some casters here. Adam next door had started doing it against some reeds and getting some F1s. So I've fed it for 10 minutes, gone out on the deeper of the 2 heavy rigs, like the 16 elastic, 016 bottom. I'd learned from my mistake. I knew I needed to pull them away from the reeds quickly. So I've gone out on that, started tapping on the surface with a pole. When you're against the reeds like that, you have to be right tight to them to get a bite. Started tapping, and the elastics come streaming out, and it's been a £6 carp, not an F1 like I was thinking. And to be honest, I've just fished that all day, and after that, I've had steady little spells. I was catching mostly carp, so which is really good. I was expecting F1s. Matt was catching really well, a lot more F1s, but he was catching on every bung. I thought, oh no, here we go again. But yeah, I've just plodded away a bit. I kept catching. There were fish there. You had to be right tight to the reeds. I had to move a couple of times where I hooked fish, it would run into the reeds. I did get them out, but they were bending the reeds over, so I just moved around the reed bed a bit where I could get the bait in properly. And I've caught on the shallow rig, like 6 inches deep. They've just been slurping and mashing around in the pads in the thing. Not fed a lot of bait. I've only fed 3 pints of casters over there all day, which isn't like me, shovel hands. But yeah, just catching in like 11 metres and working my way around it. It was really good. Did start seeing odd big carp moving down the middle when the sun was out, and it was really hot later on in the match. So 2 hours to go, I started throwing casters down the middle as well. Looked on it and caught 2 straight away, pulled my elastic out, and they were 2 big fish, probably went £15 between them, but then no more bites. In the end I sacked it off because they weren't settling there. They were just a couple that were milling around, obviously. The last hour's been a disaster, in all honesty. I'd gone from not losing any fish, every fish I hooked. It's always the way, once one goes through there, they all seem to know where they're going, and you start losing more. And I've had to get off my box, and I've fished 0.23 straight through, and 18 to 20 slick in a power kit in the end. Still lost an odd one, but I did get a few out on it. I was cursing really because it was going well till then, but seen it happen so many times with different anglers where you're not losing any fish against snags, and then last they'll do, I don't know whether it's because you get a bit tired and you're not reacting quite as quick, or like I say, once one's gone through there, they all start doing it. So yeah, not the ideal finish to the match, but come the weigh-in, I've had £195. So lovely days fishing again. Matt's weighed 185. Adam next door's had 130. And there's 130 the other side. And then not a lot. So I'd won the section. Another big weight as well, which helps. And I was actually second on the lake again. Tom Edwards has won the lake again from round the other side, peg 2. He's caught a lot of carp fishing, doing exactly the same as me. Big, better reeds, but mine were bull rushes, his were proper reeds, and he could just poke me. He's actually fished a mong rig, and caught a load of carp on that, and he's beat me by £10 for the lake. But that last hour's cost me, because I could have had that, but still another pickup. And most importantly, I got the point. I was really happy with that, because I thought 22 would dominate. So yeah, a really good day. Went home. Knew I was on Magpie, which I love, and they've done the draw that night. I drew 31 on Magpie, which is where I was on 25 in all the pads. You go over the bridge onto that, it's one of the pegs on the island. In all fairness, my heart sank, because it's Billy Marlowe was on it the first day, really good young angler. He's in Fishermania final this year, won the junior fish show last year, so he's definitely a very good angler, fishes there all the time as well. He only beat one in his section off it the first day. Jason Collins, the map lad, an angler I think very highly of, he was on it the second day, came last in section. It's in with 30 next year, and then 31, 33, towards the end of the island, and 34 on the end, which is a flyer. Didn't think I'd beat that. And then it's the other peg was strangely 36, which is in the pads in that other bowl. So I thought I was in for a hide into nothing. I lay there thinking about it all night. What am I going to do? So I got to my peg, plumbed up, and it's 4 foot either side, really deep. You've got a tree sort of come out here and some reeds. So I've just fished a top 4 down there. I was just going to throw really heavily, feed it with maggots, and throw casters on a top 6, and that was it. I've plumbed one rig up down the edge and set up. I've set up a couple of shallow rigs for the edge, all on the yellow slick in a short kit. 2 with a normal hook on for fishing maggots down the edge, and I've set up 3 for out, a deeper one and two shallow ones. And then I set a couple of dobbing rigs up, because I thought that would be my other option of things. There were quite a few dobbers about at the start. So I've gone out dobbing, not caught anything. I had Jimmy Brooks opposite me, different section. He's one of the best dobbers there is, and he was doing it and not catching many at all on it. So I knew I shouldn't waste my time on it. So I've gone in the edge, and I've caught early on it. I've caught 2 or 3 straight away. Decent stamp fish. Gone shallow, caught 3 again, and then it's just been a real struggle. There was a very odd one coming down the edge. The casters, they didn't want to know. Again, flat calm. And the lake was just really moody. We all thought it was going to be a mega weight day, and the lake just completely switched off, in all honesty. So it's just plodding along in the edge. Then with 2 hours to go, there were a few, I caught 4 or 5 shallow, and everything else is in the edge. Just an odd cut. They were big fish though, really good stamp, a lot of 5 to sort of 8 pounds, so they were worth waiting for. And then all of a sudden started to get lots of liners. Tried shallow down there, not a bite, but loose feeding clearly wasn't right now. So I've got one of the, I'm sure you've all seen them, the XL Matrix don't do one. I've had one of the massive Preston ones on, like that, the big, huge, great pole cups that sits on your top of your rig, not on a dedicated cupping kit, goes on your actual top kit. Just filled that with maggots every time, tipped that in. I've actually come a section closer, just the top kit. There's some boards there, so the fish couldn't get behind me there. They stopped just where I was fishing, and it was about that much shallower. only 4 inches shallow, and I've just float tight against the board so they couldn't get in, put 5 maggots on it and just tipped one of them in and waited until I've got a fish. Might miss 10 bites, might sit there quarter of an hour and just wait until it's gone under again. And I caught a few like that, did lose an odd one, foul hook still. It was very weird, and like I said, the latest fishing with, kept hammering the casters in, and the last half hour I've gone, I could see another one sitting there all of a sudden, so I've gone out, caught 11 inches deep, and I've caught 15 carp the last half hour on it. Couldn't get in quick enough, it went really, really good all of a sudden. They just got that time of day where they wanted to eat. Come the weigh in, I've weighed 204 £. I've won the section by 70 £. I was over the moon with that. I know I'd fished a really good match from not a good sort of peg. Tom Edwards was next to Jimmy. He'd won his section. I knew he'd won it. He'd got 3 points. He's had an island, a little island in front of him. He's caught shallow to that the second half of the match. He's had 190 something. And I thought I'd won the lake, but then down the bottom end where the wind was going, Matt Wiles has beat me by a £1, which is annoying. I've lost a few foul hookers. And Josh Pace next to him on 14. Load of room there because it's not normally so good with the wind going in. He's caught down the edge, fried knots and maggots like I'd done. He's had 270 £. So I was fair on the lake. More importantly, won the section. I thought I could get third because I've got a big weight. There was Tom had obviously won it, or Jack Gill was the other bloke who was running. He'd drawn a decent section peg on Raven. He'd got a big weight. Thought he'd win his section, but I went round to watch them weigh in when I packed up, and he's actually been beat by 10 £. So I thought, just started doing the maths then. And I just beat Jack on weight by 8 £, I think, over the 3 days. So come the results, I'd actually finished second in the festival, so made up from that. The first day did cost me a little bit. You can't beat, we all knew who was going to win that section, unfortunately. I do look back and wish I'd done things a little bit differently. They do catch with mushy meat, tipping it in the reeds on the far bank, and I would have caught a few on that, maybe could have beat Tom, but if they'd have come shallow, if the rain hadn't been so bad, maybe I'd have had a chance. But I didn't want to try the mushy meat thing. I've not done it, if I'm honest. Not feeding it, and they tip it in the reeds and fish like 4 inches deep with a piece of meat. I didn't want to risk it first day of a big festival, so stuck to what I know. Didn't quite pay off, but yeah, so second in the festival, so I've picked up 950 quid for that, and then 2 lake seconds and a section, so 1200 quid. Been a great week. Shame about the weather, but I've had 200 £. Of fish every day as well. It's fantastic fishing on 3 different lakes. So an awesome week. So obviously little things to do differently. I have picked up on them. The maggots down the edge is brilliant. I've not done too much of that. I'm normally big pot and stuff, but throwing maggots down the edge is definitely something I'm going to try a few other venues. Worked a treat. They also ran a mystery pairs. They do it it's not a mystery because they draw it out before the start of it. And I drew my tunnel friend from Tunnel Barn. I used to draw next to him every round in the Winter League. Ben Sharp, really from Maver, really good angler. And he's finished 5th in the festival. So I've been putting him right because he'd never really seen the place. I've been speaking to him in the evenings. He's drawn well. He's done well considering he'd never been there, so well done to him. He's had 4 points, not as big a weight as me though. There was a load of us with 4 points. I've just done the biggest weight, luckily. So we've won the mystery pairs as well, so that was £250 of vouchers for the shop there between us. So all in all, was a perfect week. Well done to Tom Edwards on winning. He is just on fire at the moment. Yeah, don't want to draw near him anytime again soon, but I did beat him at decoy off the next peg the other week. But yeah, he just seems to be in the zone at the moment. Can't do any wrong. Having a bit of luck with a few things, but he has drawn tough section every day, in all fairness to him, so well done. I'll try and win it next year, but yeah, lovely week. So as I say, moving on from there, don't think I'm going to fish this weekend. I'm coaching Sunday. I might fish rookery Saturday, yeah. just trying to make my mind, see how much prep I get done this week. And then next week is a pure marathon, is the only way I can describe it. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is the big money. It's the decoy festival. Not quite as many on it as before, so the money is a bit lower, but it's still going to be substantial money. I think this is going to be 50, 55 on it, something like that, which will be really, really good. As always, standard of anglers is going to be ridiculous. So that's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Straight on from there, Thursday and Friday, Floatfish are doing a 2-day festival. Again, £1,000 for the winner. Some brilliant anglers doing it. A lot of people doing both. Just taking the week off like I am. And then, just to top it off, it's bank holiday weekend. So Rookery are now doing a 2-day, which will be a big money one again on the Saturday, Sunday. So I've literally got 3 festivals in 7 days. So that's why you're getting no tips videos this week, because I've got a whole lot of prep to do. So I will go and start on that now. Thank you very much for watching. I'll say what, get next week out of the way. We will start getting the tips videos done. I know lots of people want the pellet waggler, so that will be the first one I get done. I'll try and get 2 or 3 done to make up for it that week. So we'll do that, but as always, thanks for watching, and we will catch up with you. There will be so much to report this time in 2 weeks. I'll probably do a separate video for each festival, so there'll be loads to learn from that, I'm sure. Yeah, and see you there. Thanks for watching.